Radio Rahim with the real deal, Evander Holyfield. Mike Tyson fell victim to some of those slick people, for sure. He had his challenges, obviously. He spent time in jail, wasn't able to get his rematch with Douglas or fight you when it would have been time to do so. You come through all of this, and I'd say probably the only odds bigger than 25-1 is the odds of a guy coming back from a heart attack with no medical treatment and fighting again. When you face Tyson as that huge an underdog, knowing what you had already done in the sport, and everyone said, well, you weren't afraid of him. You were the first guy not to be afraid of him and all these things. But what really was in your mind and heart at that time?
Well, people have to understand what faith is. Faith is, people think faith is when you know you're going to win. Faith when you don't know you're going to win. And so that shows you, do you really trust God? My own thing is that I was so ready for that fight. And plus my mother passed before the fight. And so, that 96 was a rough year for me. And so in the point of my mother passed, I realized, my mama wanted me to be the very best that I could be. And so I go in this fight, and I realized that he was in trouble. He just didn't know it. And I seen him pushing this guy like this, like when he was coming to the ring, the guy wasn't walking fast enough, pushing, like he got to get to the ring. And I just, from that point on, I seen him. And I watched him come all the way in there. When he turned around and he see me, he said, I was just looking. He come on in, I see him climbing. He could go around this guy and peep out the other way. But I just kept my eye on him. And then I started speaking in tongues. I just started speaking in tongues. And everybody was, I know he probably said, what in the world he said? But I was speaking in tongues, because my whole thing is that I know if you get into the high praise and it get your mind off anything. Only I know that I had to get it. And, that bell went up, when that bell rang, I went out there and I popped him, then he hit me on the brake, because I realized that he gonna hit on the brake. And I realized I was gonna never let nobody hit me if I wasn't gonna get the last lick. I'm gonna get the last lick. So I realized if I get the last lick, then he gonna go back thinking about how hard I hit him instead of going back how hard he hit me. So the art of the game is, if you get the last lick, I will fight this thing till I get the last lick. So when he can go back and think about how hard I'm hitting him. And say, I knew I could take a punch. But the thing is, he the guy that hit other people. Now, do he know that I can hit too? And so the art of the game is, if you get the last lick, the other guy thinking about how hard you hit. So I made sure that every round that he know that I got the last lick, like that. And I just sit there and watch and see how is he talking to the coach, what he's saying. Ain't nothing like looking over there and see the guy arguing with the coach. He about to give it up like that. So, it's just an art to the game.
Was that the moment? Because I wanted to know what moment you knew, I got Mike Tyson. I got him.
Well, I know it was over when they did this.
That's what everybody knew.
But the thing is, it ain't over till they do this. Because I've seen Mike get hurt, and he catches hurt. He hurt, then he turn around, boom, that knocked the guy out. I've seen that before. No. When do you know it's over? When the guy jump in and push me out the way, put his hands up. That's and when that happened, and I was like, wow. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Wow. My mama but my mama had already told me. My mama said, you're not gonna have a problem with him. And I asked my mama why. She said, well, people who bully, you fight them better. People who don't fight good, you don't fight them good. Sonny, you don't like bullies. You'll fight a bully because you ain't going to let nobody take nothing from you. And my mama said, he will always be the easy one for you because he's a bully. You don't like bully. And I'm like, I ain't never thought about no bully. But my mama said, when people are aggressive, you don't play it, they're aggressive. I said, well, she right. Every fight that I fought somebody who was aggressive, I get them out of that quick. But when they're not aggressive, people who move around, it get boring. It get boring because I'm not used to chasing people. I'm not a bully. I don't chase people. You run, I'll let you go ahead and run then. I'm gone. I'm out of here. I don't want to do it. But I like competitive fight. I like people who really want to get me.